today I'm really excited to have Annie Crawford, the chair of the Can2 Foundation, join us for our Rainbow Jane Inspired Kindness project. Annie and I go back 6 or 7 years, where I've known her as both me being a Can2 participant, a donor, and also most recently a member of the Can2 board. I find her really inspiring, and I'm excited to share her story with you today, because whilst there's a lot of things I know about her that I want you to know too, there's a lot of things that I don't know about her that I'm dying to ask. So, Annie, welcome. So, Annie, perhaps we'll start by getting a little bit of your backstory. I know you grew up in Australia and you've spent a bit of time in the US. Before we sort of get into the Can2 questions, tell me a little bit about life before Can2.
What happened was I was working in sexual assault and domestic violence, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but I was a social worker by training. And what happened was we got transferred to Switzerland for my husband's work, for Simon's work. But prior to that, I'd worked for 10 years as a social worker, working primarily in mental health and sexual assault counselling and domestic violence counselling. So I always had a passion for women's issues and for sort of social justice issues, I guess you could say. After Switzerland, we decided to move to America because we really enjoyed the experience and the culture that we were able to give our kids by, travelling to different places. It was while we were there really that sort of things changed for us incredibly. We were both involved in setting up the US affiliate of a biotech company, and because when I first moved to the US I couldn't work, so I went and did social work at uni there, and then was involved with Simon, as I said, in setting up this US affiliate of a biotech company. And there was an IPO over there, and it was put onto the stock market. Now that was a really incredible learning curve for me. One thing I had to, I realised that you can actually do anything you want to do if you decide that you are going to make the effort to do it. You've just got to have the wherewithal to ask the right questions, and you can actually really do whatever you want to do. But as I said, that was very successful, and we became far more financially successful than I ever imagined that we would be. And I come from a social work background, so obviously I've never really been motivated by money as a sort of intrinsic reward for me. So when we moved back to Australia, I thought, what can I do? Here we are in this sort of unexpected financial situation. What can I do to give back? And while we'd been in the States, I'd run a marathon with a similar sort of program to Can2, in fact. I've always been interested in fitness and health. It's really important for me to run, particularly because it's really good for my mental, my mental frame. If I'm in a funk, I know I can go out and run, and that's going to change things. My father at the same time not at the same time, but he had died at 51 of cancer. And so as one of 7 kids, understanding the impact that losing a parent at a young age has on a family and on my beautiful mother, I was thinking, what can I do to combine this passion that I have for being fit and healthy and getting other people fit and healthy with giving back to the community in some small way. And so I remembered this sort of training program that I'd done in America, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could set something up like that in Sydney? I knew we had nothing like it in Australia. So I decided that if I could train 25 people to run a marathon, or get those 25 people trained to run a marathon, and those 25 people could collectively raise $50,000, I'd be pretty excited. And that's sort of really how the idea of Can2 began.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Can2 model and how the fundraising actually works?
Can2 really, as I said before, it's about personal transformation, and the vehicle for doing that is 1, training, and 2, fundraising. So we get people off the couch, out of their comfort zone, to, as I said, achieve goals they never imagined they could achieve, and they raise funds for Cure Cancer, Young Australian Researchers, and the Cancer Council. The model is sort of it was an innovative model at the time, obviously 12 years ago. But what we really wanted to do was we wanted to get the costs of training our coaches, of paying our coaches, and the side of the organisation that's really about the health and fitness. We wanted those costs to be covered so that the majority of the funds that are people raised, as they pound the pavements, dive under the waves and make their jams and do their karaoke nights, whatever they do for their fundraising goes directly to research. And so that's the model. Obviously, that's grown now. So we need corporate partners, and Macquarie, as you said, have been instrumental in that. But we also have other ways that we get funds. And you said you're a donor, and you have been one of those people, and we call them centurions, and they will fund one pod. The beauty of that, of course, is that leverage effect, where you can donate. Say it costs us $10,000 to fund a marathon pod. Not only are we getting people, 50 people or 30 people fit and healthy, and getting them to achieve something they never thought they could achieve. The leverage of that is that those incredible people will then go on to raise $50,000, $60,000 for cancer research.
Can2's values are fun, fitness, fundraising and friendships. I'm really interested to know whether the Can2 community truly lives those values and how you would describe the culture of Can2 today.
Our values are to empower, motivate, support and empower our people, and I hope people can see that as well. What I think the community that we've created, what I love about the community is that it is all those things, and the people, it's meeting the needs of a community of people on a whole lot of different levels. And we've actually done a little bit of research around the type of people that come, and we've sort of done some segmentation, and we know the people we've got. So we've got the cause-related people, the people that really just want to be involved in an organisation like ours because we're doing something for something bigger than themselves. Then we've got a group of people that are really there much more for the community, and they love they love the coffee, they love the social, they love the support, they love all of those things. And then we've also got the people that are there for much more for cancer. It's very important to them. So we've got a whole lot of different people that come together for a sort of common bond that have created one of the most positive, uplifting communities that I've ever been lucky enough to be part of. Every single time I go to a training session, I come away on a total high. So the culture that we first started has been, other people have taken ownership of that culture, and it's sort of become viral. And through our team captains, our mentors, our repeat offenders, as we call them, we've now got people that have done 15 or 20 programs, and our coaches, we've created this community that is not only making us a fitter, healthier society, mentally and physically, because that's one of the amazing things about Can2. It's not only getting people to be achieving these physical goals, but it's helping them mentally. But they're also getting this sense of belonging. They're giving back and making themselves feel part of something really positive.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced during the Can2 pathway, and what have some of your proudest moments been to date?
Well, it's interesting because reflecting on challenges, I think there's been one, personal challenges, but also the challenges of the model. So if I sort of start with personal challenges, I think it's been a lot of, for me, it was a lot of fear facing in the beginning. I'd laid myself on the line, as you were saying before, to Macquarie Group Foundation. I'd laid myself on the line to cure cancer. I was terrified of the whole concept failing. I mean, as I said, there was only 7 people that first night. And even bigger than that, I was terrified of public speaking. I was terrified of being out there. I'm one of those introverted extroverts, so I found it really terrifying to have to get up and speak to the group. And I mean, that first night there were only 7 people, but that sort of freaked me out. So there were those sort of challenges. It was the fear of failure. It was the fear of exposing myself. What happens if this sort of didn't work? So that on a personal level has been a huge growth, and it was a huge challenge. And just on that topic, one of the things that I've sort of learnt was that I had to make a whole lot of conscious decisions along the way in the growth of Can2. And one of those was that I was never going to say no to things. And so just as our Can2ers, they're not allowed to say no when they want to face the fear, when they're pounding the pavements or swimming. And I too was facing my fear of swimming as well. And those things, I made a conscious decision that I was never going to say no when I was asked to public speak. And so that was just terrifying in the beginning. But ironically now I do a lot of public speaking. I do a lot of the thing that I always said I hated the most, to share my story. And funnily now I'm even getting paid and I'm able to give that money back to Can2. So it's not really, it's been a challenge, but, you know, it's the same thing. It's out of challenge comes opportunity. And that's what I love about Can2 in a whole lot of ways. In terms of the actual business side, it really has been getting partners. I mean, there are so many amazing charities out there, and we know that. So it's constantly working towards getting partners so that we can have integrity in our model. So it's really important to me individually, and I know it's important to our board to ensure that the majority of our fundraising dollars that our amazing people are fundraising is going to cancer research. However, that being said, I think one of the things that sort of helped me come to terms with that challenge is that our mission and vision, which we've really clarified as we became our own foundation, is just as much about getting people fit and healthy and getting them to it's about prevention of cancer and other diseases just as much as it is about fundraising. So it's actually right that we're investing in health promotion and we're investing in people's health. And as I mentioned before, with 1 in 3 cancers being lifestyle related, we're actually fulfilling our mission by spending money on getting people fit and healthy as well.